All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you're listening to Skytown, everything Chicago Sky-related podcast, brought to you by the WNBA and the All Sports, All Plays Network. We have an amazing show for you guys tonight. We have 3 interviews with Finals MVP of 2021 and a WNBA champion, obviously, KahLeah Copper. We have Rebekah Gardner back in the house, and we also have Coach James Wade. We're going to have all of that and more, breaking down the 83-80 loss the other night against the New York Liberty, which honestly, being on a 6-game win streak, having as much of a physical game as we had the night before to the Dallas Wings, just to find out that a few members of the Sky and the entire team kind of had early flight complications. If you saw KahLeah Copper on Twitter, she took to Twitter and kind of expressed her feelings about that. And that's super frustrating, especially when you look at like the league and how easy the NBA, they get these bougie ass co-pilot type planes and they're huge private jets. And it's like, they can't even get to where they want to be on time because of a scheduling error or something along those lines. Like that's what's super frustrating, especially on back-to-back nights. That is insane. But back-to-back nights don't happen quite too often, so the worst of it is over. But we do have a packed show because the next 6 of 8 teams that the Chicago Sky play in their next 9-game stretch before the end of the season, on top of the Commissioner's Cup on Wednesday against the Las Vegas Aces, are top 5 teams. This is definitely going to be a battle-tested series against so many different popular teams throughout the league. And the best thing about it, though, is that we already clinched. Right now we're, 21-7? Already clinched, first team to clinch, and it's only July, so I'm not too quite worried about it. Not at all, not in the slightest. It's definitely something right now where you really look at the Chicago Sky and what they're trying to do and the way they're going about it. It's really just coming down to, and Candace Parker kind of spoke on it the other night in a press conference, in a post-game interview, kind of just talking about if we can finish the game knowing we did the best we could and really taking something away from that game, a positive away from that game. We really don't care about the wins and losses right now, which is a great problem to have, but you don't want to get too used to losing. That's the biggest thing. They still want to remain competitive. They still want to be able to say, okay, but we did this, and that. Like there's a lot that went very well, especially Rebekah Gardner against Sabrina last night was amazing to watch, an amazing game. I believe Rebekah Gardner had 4 steals in that game, and we have an interview featuring her and Coach Wade, kind of talking about her game, and Coach Wade a little bit more talking about other stuff as well. But we're going to get into that in a couple of minutes because we do have many interviews for you guys tonight. Candace Parker on the night, 21, 3, and 11 in 29 minutes, almost had the game-winning shot. It would have been great. It's, Coach Wade even said it, 9 times out of 10, she makes that shot. The final play was designed for her, and it just didn't go this way. It didn't go our way this time, and that's perfectly fine. It happens. KahLeah Copper had 17, 2, and 7 in 29 minutes. Emma Meeseman, 8, 2, and 4 in 28. Allie Quigley had 2, 2, and 2 in 23. Julie had 4, 2, and 3 in 34. Dana Evans had 2, 0, and 0 in 6. Azrae Stevens had 10, 2, and 5 in 23. Rebekah Gardner, 3 or 4 steals. I'm sorry, I don't have that written down, but I know it's one of the others. She definitely tied her career record. 3 to 4 steals with 16, 3, and 4 against Sabrina in 25 minutes, and Lee had zeros across the board in 4 minutes. Stephanie Dolson, who's always amazing to see. She's an amazing individual and a Chicago Sky legend. 13, 1, and 4 for the champ in 18 minutes. Allen had 2, 1, and 4 in 23. Howard, who fouled out towards the end of the game, had 16, 2, and 10 for a double-double in 29. Isonuku, I always mess up her name, 17, 9, and 8 in 34. She is a stud, but I always mess up her name. Sabrina, I just call her Sabrina. Sabrina had 17, 9, and 8 in 34. Sabrina, averaging 17 points per game. it's insane to me to see her play the way she has and really just continue to develop her game on a team like this, because obviously the talent on this team isn't the greatest, so doubling Sabrina is irregular. It's definitely something to where, it's her presence is felt, and defenses are preparing for her and her only. But Stephanie Dolson is a big part of that as well. You look at her power with her hips, and being able to kind of just direct where she's going in her change of direction, especially in a pick and roll situation, is just top tier. And that's a big part of where I miss Stephanie on the Chicago Sky, because the pick and rolls were disgusting with Vandersloot. So it's definitely something right now where she's missed. But I have mad love for Emma, and I've grown to love Emma Mieseman, and what she's bringing to the team is. It's not to be disrespectful, not to compare one and the other, but Emma definitely is doing her thing. I'll just say that. I'm not gonna say she's better or worse than Stephanie, but um, I think Emma. I have no. I'll take Emma 10 times out of 10. That's just truly what I'll say. It's no shot at Stephanie. Emma is just so well rounded and so talented and such a leader. She understands the game. And I feel like this chemistry is even better than it was with Stephanie Dolson. But with that being said, Dangerfield had 3, 2, and 2 and 20. Hahn had 12, 2, and 6 and 22. Johans had 8, 3, and 1 and 26. Whitcomb had 5, 2, and 3 and 13, and 7, 0, and 3 and 13 from KahLeah. So I think it's definitely one of those situations to where they just played good ball. I mean, to be completely honest, like they hit their shots, and even though we came out kind of strong and defensively, it was something to where we just kind of fell apart. We just kind of fell apart. They went on a 9-0 run. It happens. And I think one of the craziest things about that, and it's something that nobody's really talking about right now, is that, this New York Liberty team is still the favorite to get Breanna Stewart next year. And I think that definitely should be taken into consideration when you look at the future of this team. You have Sabrina, you have Stephanie, you bring in Breanna, and Brianna's going to bring in other people as well, because she's one of the best in the game. It's definitely something right now where you have to look at it and take it seriously, that New York could be a problem and could be a favorable destination in a couple years to come. So I truly do think this team is getting close to where they want to be and how they want to play. But Rebekah Gardner, again, we're going to get back into her game. We have an interview from Coach Wade really quick. Just talking about her game and how she's developed. So I'll just let it go from there. We're just going to get this in from Coach Wade, and then right after that, we'll talk about Rebekah.
Things from ASAP, Mike.
Hi, Coach. You kind of look at Rebekah's game, and we kind of talked about it earlier in the year, too, how she's kind of going unnoticed very early on in the season because she's not in the scouting reports, and a lot of people aren't very familiar with her game. To kind of see her transition into now these video game type stats during today's game, how can you kind of talk about how she's really just changed her game from not only a defensive presence, but a consistent offensive presence as well?
I think when she came in, I thought offensively, she would help us a lot. I think the issue is like when we have so many like versatile players that can put the ball in the hole, she doesn't want to disrupt that. I think she can look for offense even more sometimes, but I think she's just trying to make sure that the ball moves and that and that she's making the right reads and the right cuts. So sometimes she's gonna have 16 points, sometimes she's gonna have 18 points. And sometimes she's going to have 6. But we know that she's going to bring the same thing to us defensively. And we know she's going to bring that gravity with her cutting, with her running. And tonight was one of those nights where she put the ball in the hole. But defensively, her presence is always needed. And we thought it was tonight.
And with, the last couple of days being way more physical than we would normally like, how would you say the message in the locker room is right now, knowing that, the next stretch of games are going to be very battle-tested teams? What's the overall message just kind of with the next 3 days off?
I mean, it's the way. I thought this game was okay. Like, I really thought this game was okay. I thought it was called. I thought it was physical, but I thought it was called okay. I have to look back at it, but I just thought the Dallas game was more physical than I've ever seen. And I just didn't think that was I don't know. I just didn't think I wasn't ready for that. I'll put it like that. I wasn't ready for the game to be called like that. So, but they called it how they see fit. And I thought, we did what we had to do, but I thought today was like, okay.
And that screams volumes to, what they've been doing just to be battle tested and to remain themselves. Rebekah's coming out here out of a 6 a.m. flight delay and then still comes to hoop after a back-to-back night. Candace Parker jams her fingers, throughout this game against the New York Liberty, pretty bad. And, it was obviously bothering her. I think she'll be all right, obviously, but it's definitely one of the worst feelings. And to land on her back the way she did against Dallas, it was definitely not figuratively. She literally fell on her back. But it's definitely one of the most physical ways they've been going about it the last few days. But they didn't take that into anything. Kai even goes into her interview in a little bit later. Not with myself, but just throughout the press conference that there's no excuse to losing this game, and that's a great mentality. I think using the back to back and using not being rested and using playing physical games as an excuse, that's not what you want to hear from champions. Champions are going to go through it. And before we get into Rebekah Gardner's interview, we're really just going to talk about a real champion. And, Vanessa Bryant was in attendance, and we speak with KahLeah Copper about that as well. We're going to have that interview right after Rebekah's, but it's definitely great to see Vanessa Bryant back in the basketball world like she never left, supporting the WNBA the way Kobe did. And it's definitely an amazing tribute for her. But before we get that, we're going to get in Rebekah's thoughts about the game and just playing against Sabrina and really how she's just been continuing the transition as one of the most well-rounded players on the team.
Mike.
Hey, Rebekah, today you were kind of everywhere on the court. It felt like you were everywhere at once defensively, and you were really reading the right plays. What kind of goes into that furthermore than just the scouting report that allows you to kind of be everywhere you need to be at the right time?
Well, I think I know Sabrina, for example, like for New York to win, she needed to play well. So my goal today was to slow her down. And like I said, I kind of like read the scouting report and study the players a little bit. And then I know we had a back-to-back, so I knew I would have to come off the bench and, give that extra energy and extra boost to the starters. And I just tried to do that the best that I could.
It's that easy, and that's the answers I love from Rebekah. Is just she doesn't complicate things or she doesn't give you short answers. She truly does tell you exactly what's going through her mind, and it's just the way she sees the game is just so much slower than I feel like most people in the game. It's such a fast-paced game, especially even in the NBA. It's such a fast-paced game. So for you to be able to be a good defensive player, you really need to have the game come to you. And Rebekah Gardner does that to a T. I mean, she does it phenomenally. And honestly, I've heard a couple people say she deserves, even in the broadcast booth in New York, they were talking about her deserving to be on the all defensive first team. And I truly do believe she should be. I think there's no doubt in my mind. I think the only thing that would potentially hold her back is minutes played. But even then, she stepped up in big moments with Salute down, still in concussion protocols, still don't know if she'll be playing in the Commissioner's Cup, but I would imagine so. We'll see what happens in the next few days. They play the Vegas Aces on Tuesday, I believe, and then they play them again in the actual Commissioner's Cup on Wednesday. So that'll be very interesting to have back-to-back nights of Coach Wade versus Becky Hammond. It's always great because they're just great friends and great basketball minds. But with that being said, talking back on Vanessa Bryant and her being back in attendance, obviously Kobe being from Philly and Ka being from Philly herself and growing up with that tough dog mentality mindset. I kind of wanted to get her thoughts on that, and not only just that, but her ability to score the basket after her back injury. It wasn't a major back injury, but it was definitely something that you could tell was nagging for a little bit. It was lingering, and now that it's completely washed and the second half of the season is really kicking off, she has just been so consistent on all three levels of her scoring, whether that be through free throws, from the 3-point ball, from a scoring in the paint, kind of driving in the paint and being that floor facilitator and that scorer that they need. She's really just been able to do it on all cylinders. So we got an interview from her kind of speaking on Vanessa Bryant and just Kobe Bryant and his legacy throughout the WNBA with Gigi, and then just talking about her game overall. Hey, Kyle. A little bit more of a personal question tonight. I saw Vanessa Bryant was in attendance today, sitting courtside, and to be able to have her there and still have the Kobe Bryant legacy and just the Bryant family as a whole still kind of contributing to the WNBA and being a part of that, what does that mean for you, especially being from Philly where Kobe's from, and just knowing that everything they're trying to do to help impact the WNBA growth?
I just have so much respect for her to be able to come out and sit courtside and watch us play. Gigi loved this game, and if she was here today, she would be playing basketball. So I know how hard it is for her to sit there and watch us play. So I think that I just admire her strength, and I just have so much respect for her for being able to come out here and really support the WNBA and support women's basketball, period. So I just have so much respect. I just don't know how she just finds the strength every day or to be able to even come out here and support us.
And to talk a little bit about your scoring ability on all three phases of your scoring, you've just been a lot more consistent and a lot more confident. I've noticed, in the second half of this season, and I know the back injury was kind of something that was lingering for a little bit. But what has it been for you to just be able to be so consistent and just so confident in all of your shots?
I think it's important for me to prepare. It's all in the preparation, me getting up extra shots and feeling good in practice and feeling good when I'm preparing, so that when the moment comes, when the games comes, I'm already confident because I prepared. So I just want to be able to be that consistent person for this team, whatever it is, defensively, offensively, but be consistent at bringing the energy and bringing whatever the team needs on that night.
And I think, a big part of what Kai's talking about as well, not just speaking for Kai, but just speaking for myself, understanding that, it didn't die with Kobe is so huge. Like the tragedy was what it was with Gigi and the other individuals on that helicopter with Kobe, and it'll always be a traumatic loss, and it'll always be a loss to not only the league but to the world. So for Vanessa to still be there and to still be present, it kind of makes it better. It kind of makes everything feel like, okay, the world is going to be okay. Everything can be okay. And we're going to go back and we're going to do it for them. And it's that understanding of we're still going to be a part of this and we're still going to try to make it, the way him and Gigi saw it, how they saw the WNBA and what they were hoping to do with the WNBA. I think everybody understands that one day Gianna Bryant was without a doubt going to be one of the best hoopers in the WNBA. If she was going to continue to develop the way she was. And then Kobe Bryant was obviously going to coach whatever damn team she was on. And it would have been an amazing thing with, Coach Wade, Kobe Bryant, Becky Hammond, and a bunch of other amazing individuals. Maybe get Lisa Leslie back in here because right now she's coaching the Big Three League for Cube. So maybe one day she'll be here in the WNBA. I think there's so many levels to this. And I think watching it is definitely something. I always wanted Kobe to take Derek Fisher's job, but that's a whole different conversation for a different day. I think Megan Price and Alana Chat would completely agree with me on that one. But it's definitely something where you look at it and you really, it makes you smile seeing her there, and it makes you happy because she's able to physically be there, and how hard that probably was for her in the beginning. Still is hard for her today. But she's doing it, and it makes you want to be a better person as well. It's that Mamba mentality that we always talk about. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and I commend Vanessa Bryan and her daughters and anybody who had a personal connection with him, and Gianna Bryant. So with that being said, back to the Chicago Sky. We do have the next 3 days off. We're going back to Chicago. They're going to play the Commissioner's Cup on Wednesday. They're going to play the Aces, I believe, on Tuesday for a regular season game. And I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be there for the Commissioner's Cup. We're not going to be there for the game, the regular season game on Tuesday. I do have softball playoffs. I promise I love this. I have so much fun. But I made a commitment to this team, and we are in the semifinals, and I would be doing myself a disservice and my teammates a disservice by not showing up when I promised I'd be there. But if it was the playoffs, I'd be at the Sky game 100%. If it was the Commissioner's Cup, I'd be at the Sky game 100%. But I don't think 21-7, I do not think they will miss me. I think it'll be perfectly fine. But with that being said, it's been an amazing week of Chicago Sky basketball. 6 straight has come to an end. 5 straight losses for the New York Liberty have come to an end. So congratulations to them on winning a game, or it was 5 or 7, something crazy. They beat the Sky, and it's definitely something to where we can all sit here and say Courtney Vandersloot, if she was playing, it would have been a different story. But at the end of the day, We just needed to come out there and play. So with that being said, thank you guys for listening. Can't wait for the next few games. 9 more to go to the playoff start, and then it is time to go. We are going to be ready. We are going to be live, present at every single game at Wintrust at home if we can. Hopefully we'll get to run in the Chance the Rapper and have a couple interviews with him, Sky Guy, and so many other people that are always in attendance at the Chicago Sky games. But with that being said, thank you guys for listening. This is Mike Hughes from Mike on the Mic podcast. You can follow me on all streaming platforms here, or follow me on the All Sports All Plays Network or Skytown on YouTube. So definitely check that out. You can find more episodes of Skytown on Mike on the Mic YouTube if you can't find them here, or on ASAP Network YouTube, whichever one you prefer. Doesn't matter to me. But with that being said, we will be back with all Chicago Sky related news. 9 more to go, plus the Commissioner's Cup. So technically 10, but I'm super excited about it. So we're out, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys have a safe and happy weekend. The weekend's over. I don't know why I said that. I hope you have a safe and happy week. Everybody stay beautiful. Keep doing y'all thing. Peace.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.